Good morning, everybody. We are on a bit of a detour today. Something happened yesterday that really pissed me off. We're on our way to the hospital right now. And please, I don't know how this is going to turn out in the algorithm. I don't know how many people are going to like this, hate this, if it's going to be made to be taken down. But we're headed to the hospital and we're going to take a quick peek around. Stay tuned to see exactly what's really bothered me. But if we pull up top 10 causes of death, number 1 is cancer. Lifestyle intervention, very strong with preventing hormone-related cancers. Some cancer, it just happens, say like a skin cancer, exposure to the sun. Then we have heart disease. We have unintentional injuries, like old people falling and breaking their hip. Cerebrovascular diseases, so strokes. Respiratory diseases, diabetes, influenza, Alzheimer's, chronic liver disease. Point being, 8 of the 10 top causes of death can be prevented through diet and exercise. So what are we looking at today? Well, through the business that I own, the kinesiology practice, which we're going to have a peek at the end of the video, we prescribe exercise as medicine to people with injuries and chronic conditions. I know that doctors do not prescribe exercise as medicine. They do not prescribe exercise as preventative health care in Canada. Even if you have heart disease, they will not prescribe that to help prevent every other consequence that comes down the track. They don't prescribe it to help with your blood sugar. They don't prescribe it after outpatient care. They'll just tell you generally you should do it, and that's about it. But then we get to diet, and diet can do a lot of things. One thing in strongman that I'm not super happy about is that I have to be big. I have to eat copious amounts of food. I don't eat 100% clean. I probably eat 85% clean. And that has natural negative ramifications on your health. So what would you think we should do at hospitals? We can't have treadmills at hospitals, of course, and we're treating sick people, but we should at least give sick people the option to eat healthy. And that's what we're gonna have a peek at today. I want you guys to see Canadian healthcare is not what people think it is. And if you think this is the last video that I'm gonna make on this is just scratching the surface, but I can't help but put this out there. This is my number 1 passion. This is above strongman for me. This is treating people properly. This is about people being unhealthy. And this is about us just supporting that as a society.
All right, so we have Subway, which is, there's good options there, but in the end, it's processed meat and heaps of bread. Not the end of the world. I'd accept that in itself. Beside it, we have Tim Hortons, that's a bakery. Up front, you see all of the donuts, all the Timbits, all of the cookies, all the sweets prominently displayed. For those who don't know Tim Hortons, there's probably half a dozen reasonable options, sandwiches, wraps, stuff like that. But the bulk of it is donuts, coffee, cookies, and treats. And then we have Gino's Pizza and Wing Machine. And there's a place in a balanced diet for Subway and for Tim Hortons. How do we have pizza and wings in our food court in the hospital? And those are all of the options. This is not a small hospital. It's got a cardiac ward, an oncology ward, a surgery, everything you would imagine in a big public hospital we have. This is the major food court. I asked if there's any better options, and I was told no, that there's a cafe somewhere else where they serve like drinks and muffins and stuff like that, but that's about it. So I want to talk to some of the patients, some of the staff. We're not going to put it on video because no one's going to want to be on video, but pizza, wings, a bakery, and a sub shop in a place where people are sick, where people are unwell, and they're coming to improve their health. Whoever approved the leases for the majority of these should be ashamed. The fact that Tim Hortons is allowed to have their donuts and cookies and all that in here is absurd. And I don't see how people keep their job and make these types of decisions. And so yeah, we'll talk to everyone who's willing to talk to us. It'll just be audio. We're gonna black out the video for right now. But pop in the comments. What do you think? What would you put in a hospital? What would the options be? Does this surprise you? And if it doesn't, it should. So let's see what the others have to say.
All right, so I'm sitting here with a couple of people who are working at the hospital, and I would just love generally speaking, what do you think about the options? The first time you came down here and looked and thought that this is what patients are going to be eating when they're unwell, what were your first thoughts about that? Or did you have any thoughts?
To be honest, it didn't really cross my mind, but I mean, I guess the food options could be a bit healthier. I don't know if they're catered more towards people visiting or the actual patients. I don't know what the patients eat. I haven't really seen firsthand because I'm kind of in my own department, but yeah.
I mean, even you guys, like if you didn't bring your own lunch, like the staff's going to have to be eating pizza and wings, which is obviously going to deteriorate your health as well.
It's definitely a lack of options.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Healthy options are always better, you know?
Do you think that pizza, wings, and a bakery should be options at all in a hospital?
Well, in my personal opinion, I think it's everyone's own responsibility to, you know, choose their own diet, you know? But I guess it's just a faster means of food. I mean, if you really want to be healthy, I think that's your responsibility. But I do agree, the options could be healthier, but I mean, I think it's to each their own.
I mean, the majority of things that you would see in here are the majority of reasons that people would be in here in the first place. Because people who are unhealthy tend to have made decisions that are unhealthy. 8 of the 10 diseases that people die from most commonly in Canada are lifestyle related, whether it's heart disease, strokes, cardiovascular disease. To me, it's shocking to even have pizza and donuts and wings as options.
But those options are everywhere in the world, so it doesn't matter where you are. They're there anyway. And if you pay
outside,
attention, 95% of staff bring lunch. We don't eat here because
because
it's expensive and
Yeah.
it's not good for you. We all know that. But we can't judge what other people choose to eat.
Of course. Do you
And
see
you're
it?
gonna sell what people are gonna buy the most. Because if you have a lot of healthy option, it's gonna be more money, and a lot of people probably won't buy it, which is why.
And we've done surveys through the hospital as to what to add here.
Yeah.
A lot of us have added stuff that's more like better for us. So
Yeah.
we've asked for like what else? What did we ask for?
What was one of the?
Like just
Like
there
the
was a sandwich
yeah.
spot here, but it was like $20 for a sandwich.
And
It
we
was
used to
solid.
have the juice, bogo
Jungle
juice,
juice,
or whatever
yeah.
it was.
But that's not great for you
But
either.
no,
It's
but
everybody's choice.
but it's also very pricey. So people are gonna. It's like $8 for a combo
Like
pizza
even the Subway
slice
here
with.
is more expensive out than out, and Tim Hortons too because
Yeah.
the rent is very high in here.
And so do you think it's right for it to be a purely private thing where whatever food company decides that they can pay the rent and serve people, do you think it should be totally free market, or do you think there's a responsibility of hospitals to have some sort of vetting process of
It'd
what
be
can and can't
great
be here?
if they could say, okay, you know, if you're selling this, then come in. But again, if it's gonna work,
In the big picture,
Right,
it's all
it's-
about
yeah,
money, right?
money.
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to. Because even for us, even as family outside, like you go to the grocery store and you buy the cheapest thing. It's probably not the healthiest, but it's the cheapest because you know it's money. It's everything's so pricey.
Yeah.
And I get what you mean. So like we said, staff, we bring our own.
Yeah.
Try as much as
I mean, we
you
drink
know.
coffee.
We drink coffee. But
Together
yeah.
wherever, right?
Well, that's
It's
why
just-
it bothers me for you guys more than anyone else, where if you actually chose the options here equally, came in every day, didn't bring your lunch,
Yeah.
your health would deteriorate for
Well,
that.
not
You
really,
could
'cause
find
you can really, this
you
one
could
is
find
pretty
the
good.
healthy
You
thing,
can
but if I
find it.
told you you had to get one thing from each menu and you had to rotate around and you had all the options, you'd be worse. You'd be worse
I
for
would
it.
need it
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So generally speaking, what do you guys do for lunch when these are the options available to you?
Bring lunch, bring your own lunch.
Yeah.
A lot of people pack their own lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. But why? Like, don't let me see. Why do you pack your own lunch rather than just choosing one of these things?
Not a lot of options, and they're quite expensive.
Very expensive.
Yeah.
Very expensive. For what you get.
Yeah.
Sure. Now, if we're thinking about the reasons that we prescribe people medications that they're in the hospital in the first place, the vast majority would be lifestyle related. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
And part of that lifestyle would be choosing good options to eat, right? Movement and exercise. Exercise and diet. Do you think that pizza, wings, a bakery, do you think, like, if it were up to you, would you have those options in here?
Well, every patient's assigned a diet. So, like, depending on what your reason for visit, like, you may have a low sodium diet or a regular diet. So, if people are assigned those diets, they don't really have those options here necessarily.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to go to the big place and get a little.
Yeah, of course. Does it cross your guys' minds? Is it a conversation at all with staff of like, what are we doing?
So it's funny you say that. So a little while ago, the hospital sent out a survey for staff, and one of them was the food options. And I would say 80% of staff anonymously put that there needs to be better food options.
Better, healthier.
Yeah. We used to have a smoothie place in the hospital, and it was on the end unit there.
Yeah.
And it closed during the pandemic, and they never replaced it, and that was really like the only healthier option we had.
Mm-hmm. Now, last question. In your opinion, do you think in a public hospital we should have a variety of healthy and unhealthy options, everything that's sort of out there in the world? Or do you think there should sort of be a bar of this is a reasonable, healthy quality of food that we're going to allow to rent space in this building? What would your genuine answer be on that?
I think everyone deserves options. I mean, I think people have the right to choose a healthy option, and people have the right to choose a slice of pizza if they want it.
That's that. The conversations that I had, it feels like they can't really fully speak their minds. It seems to be a general consensus that there are a lot of unhealthy options, but I just can't get my mind around having the option there in the first place. And this is not an indictment on nurses, on doctors, on techs, on anyone in the hospital, because they're forced to eat the same food as well unless they bring their own. Why are we not supporting people's health in a hospital? Why do we not have a minimum barrier for the quality of food that needs to be in the hospital? And why are we not recommending lifestyle interventions to try to prevent people from getting sick moving forward? The reason that a lot of people are going to the hospital is because they're choosing the options that the hospital is providing to them. They're just choosing them out in the real world. So hopefully this can improve over time. Please, please share this video. It's a very sad statement. I feel like I'm completely out of touch with what the world is thinking if I'm not agreed on with this one. So I don't like to talk about problems without a solution, so I've come here to my clinic to show you guys this. Now, in North America, we've added 3 years to lifespan. We haven't added any years to health span in the last 20 years. That's what medicine is doing. And if fucking pizza and wings in the fucking hospital isn't evidence of that, I don't know what is. We need to start replacing our medication with barbell, with plates, with treadmills, with bikes, with things that are actually gonna solve all of the problems that we have. So we are gonna grow this across Canada. This is location number 1. And the thing is, this is a problem internationally. A good portion of our appointments we see virtually. We're gonna pop the link in at the bottom here. If you do know someone who's struggling with a chronic health condition or an injury lasting longer than 6 weeks, you can go ahead and click that link and we can help you out as well. Before we actually get to have a physical location near you, which I promise you that we will, this is the solution, not the traditional medical system. This is my number 1 passion. So again, this isn't going away anytime soon. Me talking about this isn't going away anytime soon. And as per usual, lift heavy, be kind, and you should be healthy.